Good morning. Today on Spotlight, inside a brand new business report about where Michigan ranks compared to other states in the United States. What are our strengths and weaknesses? Jeff Donofrio, President and CEO of Business Leaders for Michigan, will be here to tell us. And later on our Sunday morning program, meet Lauren Hood, the founder of the Institute for Afro-Urbanism. She'll discuss Black thriving, what that means, and its role in community development. It's Sunday, January the 23rd. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. You have a brand new report right on time for the governor's State of the State address. I'm sure that she's going to be combing over it. Give us the quick bottom line.
Yeah, the bottom line is Michigan's come a long way in the last decade or so. We've gone from 49th in the country, ranking at the bottom among states, to 29th. So move from that bottom to the middle. And that's real progress. And that took a lot of concerted work by governors, including this governor, legislatures, and making sure that the investments, the structure of Michigan's business climate was really improving significantly. What our data says is that holding that position, though, potentially going from middle of the pack to top, which has always been, our goal at Business Leaders for Michigan, is going to be hard. It may be harder than what we've experienced over the last 10 years, too. But we know that states that are improving rapidly, states that are top 10 today, are doing things in certain ways. They're investing really consistently over decades in education and in growth. A lot of states have put in place post-secondary high school or post-secondary education programs, entrepreneurship programs, incubator programs. They've invested in infrastructure. They've created systems that are best in class around K-12 and community colleges. And really, they have been persistent in a strategy over years that has made them either top or soon to be.
So there's reason to be optimistic when you look at this report, but there's also reason for concern because of the competitive factor that no state is sitting around resting on its laurels, and we can't do it, and we've got to become more competitive. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. We've got to be more nimble, and there are bright spots, right? Certainly our post-secondary education rate, the number of people who have degrees or certificates that match to jobs, that's increased, and we're growing at a faster clip than the rest of the country, but it's not increasing high enough for us to leap over some of the states ahead of us. And there's a few states in particular that are behind us, or that have been behind us traditionally. They've put in place a lot of investments that may leapfrog Michigan very shortly. We've also seen in poverty one of the highest declines in poverty in the last few years among states. So those are good things, but if we're going to win in the next decade, in the next 2 decades, especially with the disruption we're seeing in the auto industry around mobility, electrification, in the way that the economy is shifting around where people work, how people work, we've really got to make sure that we do strategic things now.
We've all been dealing with this pandemic. It's the elephant in the room. Has your report been able to decipher what impact it has had, and are there some pros and some cons as a result of this? We certainly know a whole lot more money has come from Washington that we wouldn't have had before.
Yeah, we have some data that helps us see where the pandemic, has put Michigan in a different way. Certainly I think the data around labor force participation for us is concerning. We're 41st in the number of people who are adults who are actually in the workforce. And unfortunately, in the last 3 years, the gap between where we are and where the average state is has widened. And we're 44th in growth on labor force participation. So, we feel it every day, and certainly employers feel it as they try to go out and hire individuals. There's not as many people out there looking for jobs. There's not as many people who are earning income, and that's going to hurt our state overall if we can't turn that around. It's not that people don't want to work. It's people a lot of times have these barriers that are preventing them from doing so, like childcare, like skills training, transportation, those types of things.
Sure. Even with the progress that we've made in the areas that you've outlined here, would it be safe to say Michigan is still, when you look at the 50 states, considered to be an average state? We're sort of in the middle there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We've gone from the bottom of the middle, but is that what we're satisfied with, right? As a state, we have to ask ourselves that question. We can invest to put us on a different track, to bend our curve upwards. And I think there is great opportunity in Lansing, as we saw in December,
Hmm.
where the governor, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, and a whole bunch of other folks within the legislature came together to pass some economic development bills to put $1 billion into site readiness so that companies can come in and immediately invest and bring jobs to Michigan or grow their companies here. That they can, we could be in a different place from a competitive situation for that growth that is really essential to our future.
All right. Well, no question about it. That was a bipartisan effort. The governor touted that way, as well as leadership on the Republican side in the legislature. And she even got a little criticism from some sectors as a result of that. And that's usually a good sign that if you don't please everybody, then you're probably doing something right down the line. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back with some more questions right after this. Welcome back to Spotlight, talking to Jeff Donofrio. He is the president and CEO of Business Leaders for Michigan. The top CEOs in this state stretched across east to west, as well as the top universities in this region as well. Mr. Donofrio, all right, we keep talking about the top 10 states.
Sure.
Based on your report, the top 10 states are Utah, Washington, the state of Washington, not the District of Columbia, Colorado, Texas, Massachusetts, Virginia, California, Oregon, Florida, and Arizona. What is it those states are doing that either we're not doing or we're not doing well enough?
Those states have fundamental strengths in education, in talent, and in growth, especially their competitiveness for job creation, for new business starts, for the ability to have a business climate where people want to invest. I think let's go to education first. States that are really moving quickly have made strategic bets. And you mentioned those top 10 states. I want to highlight another one that is moving very quickly, Tennessee. And we saw Ford put a lot of investment in that state over the last 6 months. That announcement of the Blue Oval site, billions of dollars, tens of thousands of jobs. And that's because Tennessee has been doing things for decades to put them in a competitive place against states like Michigan. They have created tuition-free programs for community college and for four-year degrees, for skilled trades. They did that, almost a decade ago. They invested in site development. You can see that Blue Oval site where Ford is going. They started investing in assembling that 20 years ago. They've done things to make sure that their business climate and their infrastructure is right and poised for that type of investment. And then, their leadership came together 8-9 years ago and said, how do we win more of the emerging jobs in this industry, in electric vehicles, in mobility? And it's paid off for them. And remember, this is a Republican governor and a Republican legislature investing in these programs. They saw it as a competitive advantage for themselves, and clearly, I would say that's working.
As I look at these top 10 states, it's a mixture between right-to-work states and states that have strong union representation. So some of the arguments that we've heard before that, okay, it's the right-to-work states, it's the Sun Belt states that are beating us up, may not necessarily be true here. Unions or non-unions, is that playing a major role, or is that not really a factor here? It's about all the other things you're talking about that we have to do.
I was talking to a CEO from Michigan, and he was comparing the South versus Michigan right now, and why he made a decision to invest here in the state. He said there's more talent available. It's more experienced in manufacturing, the auto industry. And so we have an advantage in that way. What we need to make sure, though, is as the auto industry moves to a data-centric world where mobility, where electrification are changing the way that we both produce vehicles, but what the auto industry is going to make their money from in the future, where the revenue is coming from, it's going to be more knowledge-based. It's going to mean more technology is developed. And we need to strengthen our talent pool around that. We need to make sure that we have those degrees in engineering, computer science, that we continue to expand. There's great projects on the horizon too. University of Michigan is partnering with, I think Stephen Ross and a few other folks to bring a talent campus down to Detroit. There's additional.
And you have that university corridor too between
you have the
University
university
of Michigan,
corridor.
Michigan State, and Wayne State.
Yeah, and Grand Rapids is doing phenomenal things within the life sciences. We need to double down on those. We need to make sure that our population is the best prepared, the best educated, that we have a higher center of gravity, right? That we're attracting people here from other states, and that we have a stickiness to the state where more people who are graduating from those universities, because there's almost 400,000 people in our universities right now, they're choosing to stay in Michigan because they see opportunity.
Final question. You've been in that position for about a year and a half now. Doug Rothwell preceded you in that position and was a fixture in this state. What is it Jeff Donofrio wants to do as CEO and president of this organization? What will be your stamp on this organization?
Well, I have big shoes, of course, that I'm filling with Doug Rothwell, and the board is so phenomenal. We have almost 100 of the largest employers around the state at the table trying to figure out how do you make Michigan a better state. Mm-hmm. And we have set out a goal really in the next decade. How can we get Michigan to be a top state for growth? Because that's going to propel us into a top 10 state overall. That's going to make sure that everyone is prospering in this state as we grow. And that's what I want to accomplish in this organization.
If you want to drill down more on this very detailed report from Business Leaders for Michigan, you can go to their website or go to WXYZ.com. We'll link it up to there to make sure that you can see it as well. Jeff Donofrio, thanks so much for joining us today on Spotlight. We've been trying to track you down for a little bit. It's worked out finally, and we're glad to have you on. And we'll be talking, I'm sure, many more times in the future. And best of luck with all that you're trying to do.
Chuck, I look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. And coming up on Spotlight, our guest will be Lauren Hood. She is the founder of an organization called the Institute for Afro-Urbanism. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Lauren Hood, thanks for joining us today on Spotlight. Your title is Founder Institute for Afro-Urbanism.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about the Institute and what's the purpose of it? It's an intriguing title. I like the title.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Chuck, it's more a movement disguised as an institute.
Okay.
I'm really trying to get at how we can incorporate culture into the work we do in planning the future of our communities. It's been my experience both as a consultant and a paid planner that it's hard for some folks to talk about race when we're planning for our communities. And if you're working in a community that's 90% or more Black, you really have to center our lived experience, which is heavily influenced by the racial group that we belong to. And like I said, it's been my experience that those conversations aren't that easy for lots of folks to have, Black folks included. So the Institute for Afro-Urbanism seeks to make it not only safe and welcoming, but a priority to center race in the conversation of community development.
So, Ms. Hood, would it be safe to say this is sort of where the term Black thriving and community development come together at the crossroads?
Yeah, the programming is going to center around Black thriving, and that came from my understanding that what you put your energy into grows. And I really have become, I don't know, it's kind of a downer the way we talk about community development in Detroit. All the words we use, disenfranchised, marginalized, disinvested. And I think when you use terms like that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start to act like a person who is disenfranchised or underinvested in. And I just thought to myself, so what is the thing that I want to grow? And I thought about, well, let's try Black thriving. What does it look like if we focus on Black thriving and make that our true north for community development, and have conversations with folks about, tell me what you need to thrive. Talk to me about times when you felt like the neighborhood was thriving. And then we grow that instead of fighting against the marginalization and the disinvestment.
Sure. You also, I guess, for lack of better words, you could say that your fingernails are getting dirty in this because you're actually a board chair of the City of Detroit Planning Commission.
I'm also trying to figure out, how our board might be more proactive in terms of Black thriving. We so far have been very reactive. There's so much development interest in Detroit right now that we're responding to requests from developers. But I know that there's some proactive capacity we have in the way of racial equity and helping Black folks to thrive. But I'm trying to figure out exactly what that is.
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, you have some backing in this. You're affiliated with the University of Detroit Mercy, their School of Architecture, and also you've received some substantial funds from the Ford Foundation.
I have. So the Ford Foundation gave me the initial funds to start the Institute, but also is helping support a research study called the Black Thriving Index, where we interview residents citywide to talk about those conditions that we need in order for us to thrive. So they're supporting the Institute and that research initiative. There's also some money from the Skillman Foundation in supporting that research initiative. Philanthropy can respond to it. Foundations can respond to it, corporates can respond to it, city government can respond to it, so that anything they're doing in our communities, they can measure up against this set of identified criteria that we need in order to thrive.
All right, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the role that regentrification is or is not having in Detroit and other cities today. And we all know the story about Black Bottom and Hastings Street and I-375. Are we trying to get back to that, or is there a better solution? We'll talk about some of those hot button topics right after this. Regentrification, reparations, culture, Black Lives Matter. You're dealing with all of those, aren't you?
I would say to a certain extent. I struggle with using the G word. When you talk about gentrification, a lot of people instantly get turned off. So I struggle with using that one. I am a fan of reparations, but perhaps not in the sense that most people think of it. Most people's minds right away go to a check or some free land. The biggest benefit I see from reparations is an acknowledgement that what is happening in our communities isn't our fault. There was some intention at the hands of, the federal government, state government, local governments at a point in time that set into motion some things that, negatively manifest in our communities today. So it's not, I feel like Black folks carry a lot of shame for what we see in our communities, and it's not all our fault. There were intentional policies and practices that set in play a turn of events that manifest these conditions. So I feel like reparations allows us to alleviate ourselves from that shame, which can set us on a trajectory toward thriving. But I think we need that collective release before we can move forward.
What would that entail, and what role does culture play in that? I think based upon the readings that I've seen that you believe that you've got to embrace what your past culture is to even get to the future?
To a certain extent. I think it's good to take stock in what has worked in the past, but not in a nostalgic sort of way.
Okay.
But use what has worked to build a future where we can all thrive. I think that is always my true north now. What does it look like to have a Detroit where Black folks are thriving? And it's not just getting by, and it's not just surviving, but we're the blackest per capita city in the nation. As a percentage of the population in cities over 100,000, we're number one. So what does it look like for us to lead in terms of a vision of a city where Black folks are actually thriving?
So when you see topics like the I-375, that sunken highway there, that cut through what was a very thriving area. And we all know about Hastings Street and Black Bottom and all the businesses, successful businesses that were there. Does it make sense to try to get rid of that? And can we get back to that? Or are we trying to get back to that in 2022? Or do we just need to take those things that worked for Black Bottom and implicate them into today's society?
I would say yes, that, but it is a huge missed opportunity if we don't talk about what compensation looks like for folks who are still here, who are descendants of people who were displaced when that highway came through the neighborhood.
Okay. And if you're a betting person, where would you say that issue's going? I know that there's been some legislation introduced in Lansing.
Yeah, and locally, you know,
Right.
City Council unanimously
That's true.
passed, you know, the local reparations resolution, and there's a group of us on a steering committee that are helping, you know, move that process along. I would say,
And I know that Council President Mary Sheffield is a fan of this.
oh yeah, she's leading the way on that, and I would say, you know, now more than ever, it's a possibility that reparations could be a real thing. But people can't get excited about getting that check in the mail. It's a long process. And I would say this task force or commission that's being put in place to work on reparations, like it has to exist in perpetuity. As long as racism exists, we need a commission, you know, set and ready to address related issues.
Last time I checked, I think you've raised, what, about $450,000 of what you hope will be a $1 million budget, maybe even more than $1 million.
Yeah, did I tell? Well, I'm at, the 650 committed now. Ford Foundation, my program officer there, upped the amount. So yeah, I'm more than halfway towards the 1 million towards the research study.
If this all goes the way you aim and you hope, will it be a model for other urban cities around the country?
I think so. Having a conversation centered around thriving already raises the vibration.
That's what you call the Black Thriving Index?
That's correct.
Okay.
So when you're asking people, you know, what do you want for your neighborhood, people automatically go to everything that's wrong with it. But if I specifically start with, talk to me about times when you felt like you were thriving, your family was thriving, this neighborhood was thriving, just the conversation raises the vibration. So it's the potential for what that could do citywide is super exciting to me. Drop me an email, info@afrourbanism.com, or just go to afrourbanism.com. There's a mailing list set up on the website.
All right. Lauren Hood, thanks so much for joining us today on Spotlight. Best of luck with your institute. And would you promise to stay in touch with us about it?
Of course. Thank you so much, Chuck.
All right. Thank you so much and best of luck to you. Thanks to Jeff and Lauren. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the Spotlight. Have a great week.